Hey, I just got back from lunch. Did you finish that report yet?
Well, not exactly. Still working on it. I'm not finished just yet. I got a little sidetracked, but I will get them to you first thing this afternoon.
It is first thing this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I am working on
But
it. I'll have,
what do you mean that the report isn't finished yet?
I'm still in the process of working on it. I've just been a little distracted.
Distracted. Our meeting starts in an hour.
I can have it.
No. What were you doing? Were you listening to another hunting podcast again? I swear, I give the staff in this office the freedom to do whatever they want to do as long as they meet a deadline. That is the first bullet underneath your job description. Pays attention to detail and deadlines. And deadlines. Dude, are you even listening to me right now?
Hey folks, it's that time of year to be shooting your bow in preparation for the fast approaching opening day of archery season here in Pennsylvania. If you haven't been down to Williams Archery Pro Shop and Indoor Range yet, get off the couch and head down to Edinburgh, PA. They've been in business for 29 years and they specialize in bow tuning and hands-on shooting lessons. It's a family-owned bow dealership who offers Hoyt, PSE, Bear, Parker, and more. Don't forget your archery accessories and arrows when you stop in to see Ron and Linda Williams. Give the shop a call at 724-667-9660 and make sure you tell them you heard about Williams Archery on the Whitetail Distraction Podcast, and they will get you set up.
Welcome to episode 11 of the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. My name's Austin, and joining me today in the studio, and always, Charles Hedland. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, my man. What's going on?
Oh, man, I am freaking stoked.
You fired up?
I am fired up. What are we doing this weekend?
We going hunting, my man.
We going hunting.
We are going to chase after the wabbits. No, we're going to chase after the deer.
The deals.
Yeah, we're actually going to go down to 2B. It's going to be an early season hunt because their season opened up last Saturday.
It did.
So we're going to go down there. And it looks like the weather's going to be phenomenal. We're going to be on the back end of a cold front coming through. I think the high for Saturday, if it stays true now, will be 67.
Something like that.
And the lows are like in the 40s.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's going to be a crisp like 47 when we climb up in our tree stands in the morning.
That'd be lovely. You won't be sweating our asses off. And
No, it's going to be phenomenal. Deer will be up on their feet, which is good for us because we have no idea where we're going. We've never hunted down there before. We're literally just going to pack up the stands, get in either the Smurf or Rudolph, and we're headed down.
we're going to head down. I've been doing a little bit of mapping. I have some areas picked out and on some public. And we'll see how it goes. Probably set a nice, easy spot in the morning just for sake of getting in there. And then maybe eat some lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and look for a really good evening set.
Yeah, we're going to do some drive-by scouting after lunch, probably look through all the different places that you've pinned because you can see so much on topography and, you know, how the terrain looks on a map, but until you really get in there and look at it,
You don't really know what it is until
you have
get
no
there.
idea. And we could pull in this first parking lot and there could be 6 trucks there. I mean, we have no idea what we're getting into yet.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, or we could both tag out in the morning and call it a day.
I'd
You
be
never
okay
know.
with it. You never know.
Something,
You never know.
You know, something could happen. Not going to say it's going to happen.
All I can say is doe comes under my stand.
Watch out.
Watch out. The Hoyt is hungry.
Watch out, wabbits.
The Hoyt's hungry. Give me
Yeah.
a baldy.
No,
Or a
I-
buck. Maybe I'd do whatever.
I mean-
I'm shooting for a doe though. Really, I'd like to get some early season.
That's our
meat.
plan. That's our goal. You know,
Knock
try
some
to get
rust
out
off.
there. I've never sat in a double set before, so we're gonna. I have my brand new stand that came in today. My sticks came in today,
Sweet,
so I got my Lone Wolf sticks and I got my XOP Vanish stand.
sweet.
So I'm fully mobile.
It's the same setup I have. I love it.
Right. So we're gonna hang a double stand and probably bring the camera and hopefully we can get some good footage or something.
Mhm.
You know, I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. I've never done it before in archery season. You know,
Oh.
I've sat close to other people, 50, 60 yards away, but in the same tree, you know, it's going to be fun.
I probably hung, I don't know, 7 or 8 different double sets last year with Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a problem. It's easy. You know, even when we go this weekend, I'll probably just hang the sets for us, and then I'll just fly up the tree
Right.
with the sticks. I'm gonna have you probably bring 1 or 2 sticks, probably maybe 2,
That's
just for
fine.
safe measures.
Yeah. So funny you brought up Anthony because he was supposed to be our guest tonight, but
Due to scheduling conflicts, he is not. So we are cutting the New Hunter miniseries to an end short.
yep. Hopefully everybody enjoyed them. Even if you're not a new hunter, it's actually fun to listen and get the perspective of a new hunter, which is why the miniseries I thought was going to be a really fun idea, because you got people that, it's their first times up in a tree stand. It's their first times with a bow in their hand. That perspective is so fresh and kind of fun in a way that, people take advantage of after they've hunted for so long, I feel.
Yeah, no, they have open minds. They're like a sponge right now, and especially like people like Berkey and Angela, like they really genuinely want to learn, and they'll listen to everybody, and like you've said before, take it with a grain of salt, listening to everybody, but take in what you can. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah. So last minute, I was in a group chat with Anthony and my brother. Actually, my younger brother Joe was asking me about going spotting tonight. He said, sorry, man, we got to record a podcast episode. Anthony bailed on us. Totally throwing him under the bus. And then he's like, well, I'll come record an episode with you if you want. I said, hey, we're just going to BS. If you want to come down and BS with us, feel free. So he's sitting here with us tonight.
So brother number 18.
The ninth brother. He's here.
Who dat?
I'm here.
So what's going on, my man?
Mr. Joe Hedland.
Not a whole lot. Just got back from camp today. Me and my dad went up there yesterday to cut grass, and I had a camera up. Actually, I had a spot. I've been hunting for about 5 years in this apple orchard. Beautiful spot. I doubled up twice there on does, but I also had a lot of deer come through there, and last year was just crazy. Every time I hunted there were deer every time. Daylight deer. A couple times they came through a little too late. I lost track of time. I just heard something last second. By the time I got in, it was just too late. And finally, I moved the stand about 30 yards or so I could shoot at different areas. I've been eyeballing this spot for a while, so as soon as I moved that stand, I ended up doubling up on 2 doe. It was pretty cool. This year, we went in, I set up a camera, and then last week or so, we went down there to fix something, and there's posted signs everywhere. So ended up last second I had to find a new spot. It really sucked, but I hung up a camera. I checked it yesterday, and it came back looking pretty good. Like 4 out of 6 days I could have had a shot at a deer. They were coming through. Does were coming through at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night. So either a morning sit or a night sit. I could have had very good luck there if I placed my shots right.
Yeah,
and that's only, one out of
close.
3 areas that I could have been shooting at. They could have been walking beside me. They could have been walking away from the camera. So
right.
A lot of sign in there. It's a little swampy-ish, so a lot of that sign kind of sticks.
But there's a good acorn crop in there, too.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
why
little
they're in
thick. It's hard to shoot. We clip down a lot, but I got about 3 solid lanes. I'm totally covered with a pine tree limb, so you can't really see my body at all, other than my upper body. So it's super cool. I set up a stand there today, though, and it's looking good. Hopefully, I didn't see any bucks on the camera, just a little spike, but I'm not really looking for bucks up there. It'd be cool to see one or get a good one walk by, but I haven't had a lot of luck with big bucks down there, so just like to get some on, get a couple does. It'd be pretty cool.
Nothing wrong with that. And, you showed me something else that happened to you. You tried to chop your arm off with a saw today.
Yeah, I was cutting down limbs, and yeah, you gotta be careful, because them pine limbs, they're partially dead, so I started sawing, and limb broke before I was done sawing. Then I decided to saw my arm instead.
He said, I'm not done sawing yet. Well, the other thing, too, is there was actually good buck sign in that area that we found. We did a quick scout whenever we found out that his property was posted that he was hunting on. And we found some pretty decent buck sign in a little thick area, some bedding. Already a nice little buck rub line coming out of it, which I think is going to be a mature buck, because that was a pretty early rub.
Wow, they're rubbing early. So
Well, that
The big
spike
boys
was coming
typically
from
get
that
rid of
area.
early. You know, how tall was it? Was it higher? Waist high, maybe?
I mean, they were just little Peter pools, and I honestly didn't pay too much attention to them.
That's
I
all
should have
right.
looked better. We just kind of were, like I said, real quick in and out, so we didn't spend a lot of time in there.
From what I've been hearing from people checking their cameras and stuff, really, everybody's rubbed off. Only maybe a couple spikes and forkies still have a little bit of velvet rocking on there, but you know, I'm not really worried about that. You know,
No, I don't care if I get bucks on my camera or not. I mean, this point of year, really, we're not putting our cameras on the edge of a bean field or something where you're going to get a lot of pictures. You know, actually, the only person I know that has a buck picture so far is McCoy on his camera.
I got a
Daggone
couple
one.
bucks on mine.
Little 8 points and stuff.
They were hard
Yeah.
to tell what they were. They're kind of blurry.
Oh, yeah, that's
but
right.
I had a
Duh.
couple bucks on mine. That one looked pretty decent.
Yeah, you had at least one decent buck on yours too. But
I'd shoot them.
again, it's a trail camera, like Joe said. You're only seeing a little picture of that area.
Oh, I mean,
You
that
know.
where that one is and that whole big pinch,
Yeah.
they could be skirting around that other side. I mean, everything. I mean, I'm
Walk
only on
wherever
that
they
one
want.
trail. There's a trail directly behind that, too, that they
Right.
could be just skirting on. So.
Yeah, I'd almost like to set up like two cameras pointing different
Yeah,
ways sometimes.
back to back.
because
I don't have
It,
that
it
many
is hard
cameras to
to
spare.
really just tell by that one spot, unless that's just the only spot you're able to shoot at.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, or if you find a nice community scrape or something, then I would like to see bucks on a camera like that.
Dad
You know,
did get
which-
a buck picture. We checked two of his
Oh, yeah, he
cameras.
did.
He got
Over
about
a-
12 squirrel pictures. Says your fault, but
My fault.
yeah, he says your fault. You told him to put the camera there, and he ended up getting a squirrel. Every day the squirrel would go up in this tree, come down, and he's like, I'm shifting through his pictures while he's driving. I'm like, squirrel, 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 deer. Oh, there's a buck.
See,
And it wasn't anything tall, but I think it was an 8.
on that one by
Respectable.
by that little lane.
Where you used to hunt, where you hunted the one year gun season.
I know.
back down in there.
Yeah, down over on that other side. Well, first off, I suggested 3 different trees, but knowing Dad, he's you know him. He's kind of hard headed, and he was like, "Oh, I like this tree. This will cover this, this, and that." And I'm like, "Okay, it's your camera. Do what you want with it." But I mean, if you put it on that tree, you'll cover what you want plus more, and you're not going to be right on the trail, you know. And he hangs his cameras so low, too. I mean,
Everybody has their own thing. They
Everybody-
do.
yeah, everybody
you
has their
can't
own
really
method.
knock them out of what they do.
you're going to see a squirrel. Okay, I'm sorry that the squirrel was in the woods.
It was literally, he had about not even 12 inches of this tree. The squirrel was going up that side of the tree every single
Yeah.
day.
You guys ever get anything weird on your camera? I know last year I had. It's actually a really cool picture. I'll show you. I might even post it in the show notes. A possum came up and he literally put his face right in my lens of my camera. It's so funny looking.
It's funny when the deer locate you like it's big
Yeah.
eyed, you know, like, what is that? You know?
I've had really close up funny pictures of deer.
Their eyes are like super wide open.
I've never had anything goofy though, to be honest. I've had some hunters with their dogs, you know, on the bad years when obviously I wasn't seeing any deer. Then I checked my camera and I found out why.
Yep.
But other than that, no, just like the close up goofy pictures of some deer. I know a lot of people get like all kinds of crazy stuff. I think my dad was worried because we were all at the camp and people were going back in the woods, go to the bathroom, and he had his camera back there. I don't think he got anybody.
I say the best was out Ohio the one year. I had a family of raccoons coming through. And the one day, it was super tight in there. Like, I can only shoot 25 yards, but we're having such a hard time finding deer that's where I thought they were going to come through, you know, like good intersecting trails. Well, it came down to dark 30 one day, and I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting, and all of a sudden I hear, like, this sounds like a parade of deers coming right to me. And I'm like, all right, I get my bow, and I get it all together, and all of a sudden I look, and there's a whole family of freaking raccoons coming right to me. I'm like, oh, my God. That trip was the worst. Ravenna, Ohio. Screw you.
Was that Ravenna? Yeah, it was Ravenna.
was
Your dad was
terrible.
talking about Ravenna, how dirty and nasty it was
Dude.
over there.
The worst. Like, you could not find a spot to hunt without people there, and you knew people were there because of all the garbage.
Oh, yeah, that same spot, I had people
Ridiculous.
walking out 30 minutes early. I'm like, what are you doing? This is prime time, and you're screwing me up.
Back when I was hunting my uncle's property one time, I was in a good spot, and I was there the night before, and I had a good encounter with a buck. and he probably came through about 80 yards. So I moved my stand that night. I was in a climber, and that night I was waiting, and it was probably 45 minutes before dark. Like it was that prime time. You knew something was going to happen, and the neighbor came walking in to his stand, stepping on sticks, and just he was so loud. I heard him coming. I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
You know, I was looking. And it was a little bit darker out, and he just bebopping right through the woods, going to his stand. I was like, "Come on, man!" Like, I know if you only have like an hour to hunt after work, and you can just hop right in a stand real quick, but
I don't even do that because you're gonna screw up the
you're
woods.
gonna screw stuff up. Yeah, I mean that's just
I've done it once, and I actually missed a buck doing it, but it was like the last week of the season rut, and I was headed after school. I went right up to my one farm property, and I knew because the bonus was I was walking across a wide open field. So when I got there, if there were any deer in the field, I knew it. You know, so I basically ran across that field, hopped up in my stand. I only had literally an hour and a half to go. And sure enough, I grunted in a buck. And had it not been for the other guy hunting the property that had his blind up on the edge of the field. He wasn't even in the woods. He had his blind sitting in the field on the edge of the wood line. And this buck come in. And he was not, he wasn't an old brute, but he was mature. And he come in, and he was at like 35 yards coming right past me, right into my only lane, out of the same spot you hunted this year.
That wasn't a half rack, was it?
No, wasn't a half rack. It was an 8-point. It was a nice 8-point. And he come in, and like I said, I was in the cherry tree then, though, in my climber, and I was all bushied in. So I only had a couple pockets that I could shoot through, and they were in my, 30 or in at that point. I was younger. So he was coming right in on a string, and he just stopped in his tracks and stared at that blind. He starts bopping his head around, and he's looking for it because that blind wasn't there. They must have set that up that week, and he knew something was up, and he just turned and took a couple hops, and I had already drawn back on him, and I meeped him, stopped him, and it was like 35 yards, and I as soon as I went to take the shot and I was letting it loose, he had dropped his back end to take off. And that arrow just went right underneath him. But he was already going to run away. It wasn't that he jumped my string or anything. It was just happened to be as soon as I squeezed it off,
he was already going.
He was already running off. He'd only stopped for a couple seconds. He didn't give me enough time to settle my pin and make a good shot.
That makes sense.
For people that do use them blinds, I heard it's actually good to keep the windows open all the time, just so when the deer comes through, one day he doesn't see all camo, the next day he sees all black. So
Right.
keep it all
Makes
black
sense.
because, get that deer used to what it's going to see when it walks
I mean,
through.
or
Actually
when
freak 'em out.
you're in there, don't open all the windows up so they can see through
See your-
the blind. You know what I mean?
your body,
they can't
yeah.
make your silhouette out.
Yeah.
I don't like hunting out of blinds, but there's certain situations where you can definitely hunt out of a blind
You
better
have
than you
to,
can.
you know?
I'm not going to say I don't like hunting out of blinds. I've hunted out of a pop-up blind once.
Yeah.
Wasn't my favorite, but if I make like a natural blind,
No, I think that'd be cool.
I shot that buck out of a natural blind, and it worked out perfectly. It was like pine boughs and stuff that I made it out of.
I think that's better than an actual blind.
Oh yeah, it worked out great.
It doesn't conceal your movement as well, but you can actually move around and do things. Like in that little pop-up blinds, there's not a lot of room for drawing and all that other stuff too.
And they look funny. I mean, it's not really
not
natural.
You're sitting down all the time too, so it's a little different. You
Yeah,
practice
even if
for
you
that.
use them, you gotta build them in.
I didn't even have a seat when I sat in that blind. I was just kneeling,
That's weird.
and I had a bunch
That'd
of.
be
I had a bunch of.
uncomfortable.
It wasn't
Oh,
comfortable,
that'd be terrible.
but I had a bunch of turkey come in. Literally walked a foot in front of the blind, like probably 20, 25 turkey. Never knew I was there. Bunch of does were in there. It was great, honestly.
Yeah.
I really liked it, but
Well, there's a spot this year I want to do either a natural blind or put a ground blind in there and kind of cover it in. It's down the farm. Because it's a really good spot where I always see doe traffic come out early on in the year. And where they come through, there's literally no trees. The only tree fell down, and where it fell down makes a perfect cover for a blind or something. You can get it right up underneath the branches, clear a lane, and then in the rut too, it's a really good spot because the bucks will just travel that little corridor.
right.
Those are going through. Bucks
Yeah.
are gonna be
Yeah, bucks
eventually
should be going through there too.
Yeah, so I said that last year. I said I'm going to put a blind down there and kind of build it in. I never got to it.
I should have did that by now, but
Yeah, I mean I'll do it during the season if I want to. If not, I'll probably just hunt off the ground. Russ hunted off the ground there last year. He saw my buck at 30 yards. He'd already filled his tag. Mm-hmm. You know, the buck I ended up shooting, he saw it at 30 yards. He was hunting off the ground. Deer had no clue. He had he had a 4-point come 3 steps, I think, from him or something. He had the footage of it. This little buck come like right up to him.
I saw a few good bucks out there last year.
You did.
If they made it through rifle season, they're probably pretty decent bucks this year.
I had a couple good ones on camera after the season's ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a lot of farmland out there. A lot of
good
nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really hunt a whole lot of farms.
No, I think that's the only property that I've ever hunted that's like a farm type ag.
I had a lot of river bottoms and heavy timber and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess.
I had a farm that I lost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bummed about that. I used to hunt that place all the time, but it was good. But I don't have any farms anymore to hunt.
Sure you do. If you come with me.
Yeah, but that's not my spot. But there's a couple of places on the Hunter Access program that I'm going to look into. There's a farm on there that's, I think it's like 120 acres, something like that. They got corn this year. Might try and go get access to that.
Start getting more permission from farmers because they don't want deer in there, you know.
Yeah,
they want people to hunt there. We just need to start asking more, you know.
Yeah,
I think mostly the problem is that most of the hunters that want people to kill all their deer, they let everyone hunt there.
That's the thing.
So you get a lot of pressure, like Sperduty's. You know, Sperduty's got a ton of deer up there, but that guy just wants everyone to get on and kill his deer. And you know, there's 100 people that hunt out there.
And you're almost the last one asking, and then you know you're hunting on pressured farmland now. And
right. You know, half the deer are probably nocturnal and coming out into those fields after dark and eating all of his food anyways because he let everybody hunt there and blew his property.
Yeah.
They're all on the neighbor's property behind a house, and then they get up and walk into his field at night and eat all his food anyways.
Yeah.
You know, but you said something funny there when you said that's not my property. You know, you want to talk about that a little bit, like go into ethics of hunting and properties and that? Because we had a good conversation about that the other night.
Yeah, I mean,
3 of us.
I just kind of feel like I have my spots. You have your spots, Joey. You have your spots.
Yeah.
If you want to bring me to your spot, I'll go. But even if you ask me, like, hey, like, I'm not going to hunt today. If you want to head out there, I'm not going to go out there. It's not my spot.
Yeah.
You know, if I take somebody hunting to some of my spots, generally I don't take them to my best spots. My best spots, I don't even think you know about my best spot.
Oh, I thought we were friends.
I know, but it's a honey hole, and I don't take anybody there.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell them either.
But, no, I don't. But I expect the same thing from, like, people if I bring them out. Like, this is my spot. I asked for permission for this spot. I brought you here out of courtesy trying to get you a deer. Like, don't go in there and mess it up on days that I don't want anybody in there, you know?
Right.
That's why even, like, when we scouted some spots this spring and late winter, you know, we found good sign together, and you're like, hey, you found this. We can. I said, and I didn't even feel comfortable with that. I'm like, dude, this is your spot. Like, I don't feel comfortable hunting a spot like that because say we find a really good buck area, you know, and okay, I hunt over here, you hunt over here, and that big buck you've been chasing for 3 years stands up and walks right to me, and I shoot it.
I'd be ecstatic.
You're gonna be pumped.
I'd be ecstatic if somebody that I knew killed that buck. I mean, I'd love to kill him, but it's not my deer, obviously.
It's not, but at the same time, like, I would feel kind of bad doing that.
No, dude,
you know what I mean?
I'd be ecstatic. It's a huge deer.
I understand that, but that's all part of, like, if the game plan going into it was, hey, man, because I've done this before. You know, hey, I saw a nice buck. Let's gather the troops, surround this sucker, and go get them as a group effort. That's totally different in my mind. But, you know, like if we're scouting your property just because I say, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm going scouting. Hey, can I tag along?
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm not going to say no.
Right. Or just to put up cameras, do whatever. You know, that's totally different. We're still in your property. We're still in your spot, you know. But I agree with you because a lot of people, they don't understand, and that has ruined, I bet you that's ruined a lot of friendships, a lot of hunting partnerships, everything.
I've heard of that even some, you know, not even hunting deer, you know, geese or whatever else, you know, people just jumping in on our spots because they went hunting with them a couple of times, and then they think that that's, you know, part of their spot, but it's not, you know. Even us, like last year in Illinois, you kept seeing that big buck, you couldn't get a chance on him. I'm like, you know what? I'm not having any luck at these areas. Can I come over with you? You know, you could have said no.
I don't even think you asked. I'm pretty sure.
I said, could I come with you?
I'm
and I'll
pretty
set
sure
up over here, and we walked it through, and we checked it out. and I found an area and ended up scoring on a doe. But again, we were so far apart, we wouldn't really bother each other
like
so
I said,
much.
and that's an out-of-state hunt, so that's a different approach. We're approaching as a team when we go out of state.
Well, you're party hunting.
Party is,
yeah.
one of us needs to get a buck on the ground. And I was seeing a real nice 10-point out there, and he just skirted me twice on a private property, or no hunting property, I should say. And I think he was asking, just not even asking, can I come hunt with you, but he was just thinking out loud, like, I don't know where to go, where have you checked here, and I'm thinking, I've seen this nice buck go into the same bedding area twice and lay up with doe. I said, I'm not covering the back end of this bedding area, and nobody's hunting over there. Why don't you come with me, set up on the backside in case he comes out that way tonight, and I'll go back on that side.
You're pretty much one trail away from shooting that deer anyways. So
I was.
You set up a little better, and I set up on the back end because, you see these camera footage that we get or anywhere. Deer don't travel down the same exact path every day.
No.
In these public lands, they just don't do it.
Especially that time of year.
There's so many things that could mess them up. You got predators, you got other hunters. Anything can mess them up and throw them off their path. So it's so hard in these areas to really pattern deer.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Every deer is different, too. I mean, you might have 2 or 3 bucks that you get on camera, and neither one of them are taking the same route any given day.
Yeah.
Especially in the rut, they're just...
Oh, yeah.
They're
Especially
winging
in the
it.
rut.
Yeah, he was chasing a doe one time. Another time he went in, and what he was doing, and this deer is smart. He was an older deer, and he had been hunted a lot out in Illinois because he was like the biggest buck probably on the property all year long. And the ranger there was telling us, this guy, everybody's been hunting this deer. What he was doing, he was bedding behind the ranger station, which is no hunting. He would get up, he'd go around this little pond, all in no hunting, and he would cross the trail where everybody walked in, went past. He would cross that trail, and he would go right into another giant piece of no hunting. And that's where he would just take his doe, and he would bed in there.
He knows safety zones.
Yeah, he
knew
literally
safety zones.
skirted.
He was playing it right. That's how they get big.
In the safety zone. And what I was doing, I was setting 30 yards off the safety zone, and I was setting up, waiting to try to catch him to go in there. In the first night, he got in behind me, and it was just too thick. He was right on the edge. He was in the hunting zone. I could have shot him, but it was just too thick. I couldn't get a shot that way. It was a really thick area he was pushing his doe into. And he went in. He was about 50 yards away. He made a rub on a tree. He was marking his territory. He was doing everything a territorial, mature buck would do in that situation. And then about 3 or 4 days later, I went in after him again. I hunted that spot quite a bit after seeing him, bouncing around from here to here to here, just to try to keep him guessing, get closer to that no hunting. And the second time, I don't even know what I was doing. I wasn't paying attention at all because it was cold and crispy, and it was a morning hunt, and it was later in the trip, and I was kind of worn out, to be honest with you. And all of a sudden, I look up, and he's chasing a doe by me at 40 yards. I never even heard him. I mean, the ground was frozen solid. There's leaves everywhere. I don't understand how I never heard these two, but what happened was he was just chased her right up over the ridge where I couldn't see or hear him. Mm-hmm. As soon as they popped that ridge, they were 40 yards at full speed, and he ran her right into that no hunting again.
Yep.
So I saw him twice in like 4 days.
Sneaky. They're so sneaky.
They are, man. They're
They're
super
the
sneaky.
sneakiest animals. And it's
They know how to live.
That one I killed out, that smaller buck I killed out in Illinois last year, he just appeared at 30 yards. I'm like, these leaves are so crunchy. Where do you come from, You just popped up at 30 yards, I'm taking you down. The last 30 minutes of the hunt, I had to shoot you, buddy. I'm sorry. $500 tag. I'm not wasting that. I'll eat you instead.
That last buck I shot, I didn't hear him coming at all. I was actually getting ready to climb down out of my climber. I was literally just getting ready to pack my stuff up. And it was a pretty big tree, so he couldn't hear me. It came from behind me. And I was literally, I took one last look to make sure there were no deer around. It was pretty dark. It wasn't quite dark yet, but and I heard a stick break behind me. And he was literally at the base of my tree behind me. Didn't hear him come in at all. And I was looking over my shoulder, and there he was. And I was like, oh, my God. And my bow was on the left side. Mm-hmm. And he was on the left side. And I stood up, and I grabbed my bow, and I was going so nice and slow. And he had his nose up, and he was licking. He was trying to get some wind. And as soon as he took a step to go turn away, I just drew and shot almost instinctively.
Yeah.
And smashed him. And I actually thought I missed him. I heard that big pop. Mm-hmm. But I saw my nocturnal just drop straight down to the ground. And I was like, oh no, I hit a freaking branch or something. I totally missed him. He tore off. Gone. And I had my buddy Tyler with me, and he called me. He's like, dude, you shoot a doe? And I was like, no, it was a buck, but I think I missed it. Like, let's get over here and check the arrow. And came over, and it was literally, my arrow was gone. My knock came out of my arrow.
Oh.
And it was just laying there on the ground. I was like, what the heck?
I've seen that happen before.
Yeah, that was the only time I ever saw that happen. But that deer only made it 80 yards. He freaking crashed nose first into a big log. There's a big bloody spot where his nose smashed into it.
That's the worst feeling ever, thinking you missed a deer
I
after you
did,
shot
man.
it. Like,
Yeah.
I've at times, like, I'm having my binoculars on the ground trying to look for, like, blood spots, you know?
Yeah.
Like, did I miss that deer? And he's so close, like, the noises almost add up, and you can't hear it really smacking that deer.
It was so
It's-
close. You just heard
right.
that
It goes
whack.
so
That
fast.
first wall hanger of mine, wow, that was a pretty cool hunt, but same thing. It came through. This first time I was hunting this tree, I didn't even know it had a hanger for a bow. So I had my bow on my lap. 20 minutes into the hunt, here he comes, you know. And usually I hang up my bow. I do the same thing every time. I twist my peep a little bit because it's free floating. Well, I didn't twist my peep because I never hung my bow. So I pull back on this deer 15 yards, one step away from being gone forever because I can't shoot it to my left at all. And he's right there. I stop him. I'm at full draw, and I'm looking through this half moon
Yeah, half
peep
peep.
sight,
it's the
and I'm
worst.
thinking, dude, he's so close. Make something happen. And there's times where you just have to make things happen, you know?
Yep.
Like, there's no other way around it. You just have to make things happen. And I flung a shot off on him, and he ran like nothing happened. He ran around, bounded 55 yards, looking at me like, what the heck was that?
Were you
know?
shooting a fixed blade?
No, I was shooting a two-blade Spitfire that time.
2-blade Spitfire.
And I went to grab another arrow thinking I got one last chance to put one on him. And he was about 55 just staring over my area. And I was so jittery at that time, I almost just grabbed out an arrow right as he was looking at me, bounded in the weeds. I got down to my tree so quick, I started climbing down while I was still hooked on. I had my safety harness still hooked on. I'm like strangling myself. I'm like, oh, what the heck? So I unhook it, I jump down, and I get down, and I'm like, oh, there's gut on this and blood. So I definitely hit that deer, but
Probably
it
back.
was so close that, yeah, I hit him a little back. It was liver and gut, but 300 yards, he was dead.
The liver
Yeah.
take them out.
But
man.
that's the
They
scariest
do.
feeling, thinking, especially on a buck like that, you're like, oh my God, I just missed this deer. And I was frantically running down this ladder.
Oh, dude, I thought for sure I missed him.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, when I was down looking for that knock, and I found that knock and stuff, I saw a flashlight shining. I was like, what the heck is that? And some guy was like, anybody shoot a deer? I was like, yeah. He's like, it's over here.
Oh, that's awesome.
He was in a stand, and he saw it fall.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, he saw it fall, and I didn't even have to track it. I just followed his voice and went over. And I probably should have tracked the blood anyway, but
Well,
I mean, I was so excited that I actually
Yeah, I
hit him
wouldn't
because when I saw that, I saw blood because I freaking double lunged him.
right.
I mean, it was actually a perfect shot. I didn't even come close to missing, but
You would have followed Friday the 13th blood just spraying everywhere, probably.
it was.
Yeah.
It was. I think I shot that deer. I think I shot that deer with a thunderhead.
Thunder,
Yeah.
thunder,
Nothing better than a good blood trail, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those ones, they're not necessarily the biggest cut or anything like that, but those old thunderheads, man.
Fixed blade.
I think
Those are great
I
bucks.
started
Those
with
are
them.
great.
Everyone started with those.
I started with them. I shot
I
a
know,
couple
I
deer
did.
with them.
My first time ever drawing back on a deer, I'm such an idiot. I had one of those two little fixed point rests, and your arrow sat right on like the two little prongs.
I used to have one of those.
Yeah, I had the same one.
Well, for whatever reason, whenever I hung my bow and I didn't know what I was doing, I had my arrow just off the rest, like literally sitting right beside it, the prongs. And I got so excited when the deer came in, I never put my arrow up on the prongs. And when I drew back, that edge of the thunderhead hit the front of my bow and just pulled the knock right out. And my arrow fell to the ground. There was like 6 doe walking in. They had no clue I was there. And I drew back and my arrow was just like, bling!
They know now.
Yeah. They still just kept walking by me one after another. So here I am. Actually, my arrow didn't fall down. It just fell in my lap. and I let down, and I'm trying to put the knock back on the arrow.
And just
Instead of
ditch
just
that arrow,
grabbing
get a new
another
one.
arrow. Finally, after 4 deer walked by, I just dropped the arrow real quick, took the knock. I don't know what happened with that. I think I threw it on the ground, probably lost it, grabbed another arrow, knocked it, drew back, and missed. Go figure.
Yeah, well, it happens.
It definitely does.
It happens. And it's a good story.
It was a good first ever drawback on a deer story.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot better when they were at 10 yards right in front of me. There was like 3 mature does and 3 babies.
Oh,
There's
man.
like 6 or 7 of them.
I think the second deer I drew back on, I had one of them rests. It was just a steady rest, and it was so close to me. You could hear that arrow scraping against that rest, and it hurt it and bounded off. I'm like, oh man,
Those were the worst.
You
could
didn't have
hear
any
it.
rubber
worst.
or the foam, not foam.
No,
but-
they were
No,
just
they were just
straight,
metal.
See, I had
It was like
rubber
metal
inserts
or
over
hard
mine.
plastic. It was loud.
They were
Yeah.
metal. I know for a
You
fact.
pull
I
back
know mine
there
was
and you
metal
just hear
underneath.
it, you know,
Oh,
just
yeah,
going
it's the
back
worst.
it.
Scraping on that carbon.
I've had the worst luck with rest. I don't get it.
I don't know. I like that new one I have. It's pretty decent. I think it's a. I think it's a QAD one that I have now.
I like mine too now.
Yeah, I like it.
It's
I don't
taken
know.
me some time to get through some. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish looking back in my younger days that I actually knew more, you know? Because, like, you
Oh, so
you
many
had
more
these
opportunities.
opportunities and you didn't know what to do, you know? You just
See,
did stupid stuff.
I'd
but
like
you
to go
gained
back
from
to
it,
like.
you know?
I'd like to go back to like 12 years old when we can hunt. And know what I know now, and just blow people's minds. Just start slaying deer.
Yeah, well, we had radios, so we never really, group hunted or anything. My first deer I shot at, I was 13. I first started hunting archery, and I had a couple deer on my belt from gun the year prior, and the year prior, yeah. And I had this beautiful, like I can still picture in my head how beautiful this buck was. Like every color just came together. Like you just the most glorious looking buck, and it walked out perfect broadside. I didn't have a rangefinder. Charles, he went over to my blind and he range found like a bale of hay or something. So that's 20 yards, and I was shooting 15 yards at that time at pie plates, and that's where I was set for 15 yards. That's how I was so young I could barely
Based
pull
on
back
your
the
poundage
bow,
and your bow and everything.
And he came through. He was probably 25 yards, but I didn't know. I didn't know any better. I didn't know aim here, aim there. I took a shot at this buck, and I totally missed him. I had to. But like the beautiful thing about hunting, that nature thing, like just seeing that buck, how beautiful he was, that still sticks with me today. Not the miss or anything else, just being out there and seeing that buck like that.
Dude,
Just
some of the
natural-
bucks that I've seen just out there never even come close to having an opportunity at them. But some of the bucks I've seen, I just like, they blow my mind. I just like watching them, honestly.
Oh, that half rack Joey mentioned earlier, when I was telling you that story, that was one of the most amazing deer I've ever seen in my life, and he never got closer than 50 yards. And I'm not going to take a 50-yard shot on a half rack, but he was six points to his side, half rack. He had this beautiful split split brow, and then just perfect symmetrical wall of antlers, like just one after another. They were almost all 10, 12 inches.
That's what goon is. It's just a freaking wall of tines
We
on
just
that one
hate
side.
shooting a buck like that, 'cause, the next year he's going to have the other side.
Yep.
And
Never
he's
saw
going
him
to be
again,
a
but
trophy.
yeah.
Like that one you got on the wall there. He's still
Yeah.
7-point, but if he had a matching side,
That's
my
a
God.
buck.
Dude, he'd have been a
beast of a
great
buck.
buck.
He wouldn't
carries
be
that
a
map.
skull. He'd have some fur on him.
He'd have some fur on him.
He'd
That's
have some
exactly why I
fur
didn't
on
do
him.
that one.
He'd be a nice shoulder mount.
Yeah.
man. I'd even shoulder mount that, honestly. He's
I
so
probably
cool.
should have, but
That's such
I don't know.
You can
I
still
just,
do it.
I
You
could. I
can
could.
still
You got
do
the
it.
cape from another deer.
I could get a cape.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of taxidermists. They give me a cape.
But you're right. I mean, a half rack, that's a tough situation. You got them coming in, and like you said, a lot of properties we hunt, you're probably not going to see that deer again the next year because
You could. It depends.
I
It
never
just-
passed up on a buck thinking, I'll catch you next year, buddy.
No.
Cause
No,
I'll
it's not
pass them because they're
realistic.
too small. Because I've had some luck over the years. I've had a lot of luck, so I'm able to pass bucks that most people would lay down in an instant. But I don't plan on seeing the next year. No way.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not really ever passing one saying like, oh, like you just said, like I'll see you next year,
Right.
buddy. Like,
You
Yeah.
never do.
Yeah.
Not-
I mean,
yeah,
other than
not a
Goon,
good buck.
Goon, just because he's so big, that's probably the same
Goon's got
buck
to go
every
down.
year. Hopefully, he did. We've seen him one of the last days of gun.
I know.
I was there as well, yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, that freaking deer.
That was funny because there's
Haunts
four
me.
of us and none of us had a buck tag.
And the biggest buck in Lawrence County
we all had
jumped
nice
up right
bucks,
in front
so
of you.
we couldn't be upset about it, you know.
Look at this, though.
No, and everybody filled him in,
He haunts
in archery
me every day.
too.
Every time I turn on my
He'd haunt
phone,
me,
he's
too.
right there, and I'm just like, oh,
I want
I
to like
hate
sneak in
you.
on your land and just shoot him.
I'm at the point now, man. I just want to like.
I won't even feel good shooting him like Charles said, you know. If I like was on a different property and I seen him and shot him, I'd feel cool, but I'd feel kind of like I stole something, you know, or like I did something illegal. Which
It's
I
not
didn't,
mine,
you know?
man. It's not my deer. I'd like to kill him, but I mean,
It's not, but we know you got a little history with them. You've
Yeah,
never
it's almost
seen
like-
them on hoof. Is
here's
the bad
my
part.
thing too. I know. Well, I shouldn't say I know because I don't have them on camera this year because the historical place I got them on camera. Someone kept messing with my camera, so I pulled it. Obviously, but as of rifle season last year, that was the last day of rifle.
No, that was
It
early.
wasn't
the first
last,
Saturday.
It
First
was one of the
Saturday?
first weeks.
Yeah,
I didn't
Oh
but-
no, it was during the week, first week.
yeah.
If somebody killed him, you'd have heard about it.
Yeah, because my goofy schedule, I get
But-
to hunt whenever the heck I want, really.
I did hear there was a giant deer that got hit by a car on 376 there.
He wouldn't have got hit on 376. I doubt it.
Someone cut its head off.
Yeah, I doubt he would have got hit on 376 where he was.
I'm just saying.
You're
it's a
giving away
deer.
the general location of where my deer is, man. 376 down in
It's Hermitage.
yeah, it's in Hermitage.
Hermitage area.
But there was a deer, a big deer killed.
There's always a big one hit on
I know
376
there
every
is.
year.
Always is.
There was one hit probably 4 years ago on the Mitchell Road exit.
Yeah,
Thing was giant, dude, like 16 point or something like that. Humongous.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got a picture of that somewhere.
I know Johnny saw a really big one back behind his house too. That we thought it could have been that one also.
I don't know.
Giant. He claims it was a giant. I don't know.
I'd like to know the person who killed it and just get my hands on it. I just want to feel it because I know
He's probably still
he's
out
solid.
there. That deer's
I'm thinking
smart.
he is, honestly. He's so smart that it's just. I legitimately think that he's 5.5 years old this year, because I've hunted him for 3 years, and I think, well, this will be the third year that I'm hunting him. But the first year I got him, I think he was 3.5, based on the pictures.
Statistics would say that
4.5
he's probably
in this
dead,
picture.
to be honest, because deer just don't live that old around
No.
here. Unfortunately, something ends up killing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he might be, he might not be. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Making me upset.
Nah, it's a good buck, though. I mean,
No. And, you know, I messed up a few years hunting him, passing up other deer, wanting to kill that buck, and I could have killed some other great bucks. One buck in particular, big old freaking 9-point, man.
yeah.
Like the second day of season.
I think if the biggest buck that I had ever killed, bigger than the buck that I've ever killed, came by me, I would have to shoot it. You know what I mean?
I know. And it's not like, I mean, he's comparable to another buck that I killed, but I just,
would have been a good buck.
it would have been, and I'm dumb for not shooting him because I could have shot him all day.
Not really.
I don't think
Depending
you're
on
dumb.
what time of the season.
It was early.
if
It
you
was
have a
the
buck come
second
through
day.
Yeah,
that
I
Season.
mean,
So it was that Monday after
that
opening
isn't
day.
that special to you, and it's just meat in the freezer, then that's
Well,
why
my meat
we
in the
shoot.
freezer's does, man.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
shoot does.
I
I don't shoot small rack bucks just because it's nothing to me. It's just meat in the freezer, And I have enough. I probably have 200 pounds of deer in my freezer right now.
I
just
probably
from the
have
past 2 years.
15 pounds of deer left in my freezer.
I'll
I'm
give
gonna
you some.
crush it here pretty quick.
we
I
gotta
haven't been
eat that
eating it.
heart.
I have one.
I know, we have to eat it.
Yeah, we're gonna eat it before we go this weekend.
Breakfast heart.
I'll make us some egg and heart sandwiches. I like heart, honestly. It's real tasty.
I don't mind it. It's
Never
okay.
had it.
Oh, well, maybe I'll save you a slice.
I'd rather shoot it.
I would too.
Mm-hmm.
I never shoot for the heart though. I'm not a heart shooting guy. I'm always going for that double lung
I
shot.
always want that double lung perfect shot where it just clips the top of the heart, like through the arteries of the top of the
I mean
heart
that's
there,
cool too.
right
I
through the
just go
lungs.
for that center mat. Like I pick that crease and I go back like 3 inches
Yeah.
Right.
and I throw it right there.
Because
That's
you have room
usually
for
where-
air.
Yeah.
Instead of in
Right.
that
Yeah.
shoulder.
I'm away from that shoulder, and I'm just I know I'm gonna. I don't know. That's the shot that I take. I don't know. Now if it's quartering real hard away,
If they're close, I'll shoot
I
for
might.
the heart every time.
see if it was close, I might shoot for the heart.
Just
But
because.
You're 20 and in, I aim on the heart.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still shooting for that double lung. Most of the deer I've shot, man, double lung. I only ever shot one in the heart,
Yeah.
and that deer was a doe, and I shot it, and I was sitting on a ravine, and I shot it, and it ran down the ravine and ran up the other side, and as soon as it made it to the top of the other side, it fell over dead. It literally ran 20 yards and died.
Coolest one I ever shot in the heart was me and Charles one day. It was super. It was just terrible. You remember that day I shot that 7-point? No,
Where at?
you know where. So either way,
Okay.
me and
Let me think about
Charles,
this one.
we went out and it was so nasty out. We looked at each other. We're just like, one of us got to get a deer. We got to make this day happen to make it worth it sitting in this. And I got up my stand and I'm just sitting there and it was so windy, freaking cold, snowing. I was literally just like looking right in front of me. I didn't even care about the hunt anymore. Like after we had our moment, like, yeah, let's go get a deer. I'm just sitting there like this, and then finally I look up and I look behind me, and here comes a 7-point. And when I shot it, it was at 30, and I aimed 25 mid chest, and it went down, and the arrow went literally between, because its shoulder was open, its front leg towards me was open. And the other one was back, and it went in between its two legs, hit it right in the heart, went 70 yards.
Oh, man.
It was awesome.
Is that at the top of
And
the
I
field?
still have that hide. I got it skinned out and tanned,
That was the one at the top of the hill.
but you can see where I shot it through the hide because the holes are still there.
That's cool.
It was literally right between the two legs.
Yeah. I remember that.
That's a beauty.
It was perfect because there's a limb there, and I kind of leaned down a little bit. It was just a perfect shot for that time in my life. I was probably 16 or so.
I think that's fun. I don't know.
Oh, dude, I love it. I love watching deer go down, too.
That
That is
I
my
didn't even see him
favorite
go down,
thing
but
on
yeah,
earth.
seeing deer go down is so cool. It's like, you start fist pumping.
Usually
if I
they,
can hear him crash.
Me and you,
Yeah.
let's get on this for a second. Me and Charles, we've had some double ups together.
Do it.
Every time we could see each other, we double up.
I told you, I
knock
just
on
gotta
wood,
hunt close
where's
to
the wood
him.
at?
I got to hunt
Knock
close
on
to him
wood.
because the deer's going to him,
Every
and I just
time.
kill it before it gets to him.
Oh, the one time, the one was pretty cool out, the one, Slippery Rock.
Yeah. I thought that's what you were going to talk about. Then you said 7-point.
No,
You said it
I
was
was really thinking
bad
about
weather.
Butler County, that spot
oh, okay.
where we were within seeing distance. We did it multiple times. We did it out that farm.
Yeah, we did it at the farm.
We did it out Butler County area. I'm not going to give up anything.
Yeah.
Slippery Rock. Slippery Rock was cool because
Slippery Rock one. Nobody
we
else
stayed
wanted to
through
go.
this storm.
Slippery Rock, West
And,
Virginia.
Yes, Slippery Rock, West Virginia. We're on the Panhandle.
And Butler, New York.
But
Yeah.
we stayed out the storm, and Russ left us. He
Yeah.
left us, and we're like, dude, this storm isn't gonna hit us, or however it worked out. And he's leaving us, and we're texting each other, and he's like, oh, I see a deer out in the field, and I'm like, all right, so I'm looking out in the field, and all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, I see this deer running at me. It has an arrow sticking out of it or whatever, and it goes down. Like I meeped it to stop. I kind of didn't really yell at it, but I did a hard meep at it just to stop it because I'm like, I know this deer's hit from him, and I'm gonna throw an arrow in it, just get a bleeder. And it went down, it stopped, and it laid down 20 yards from me and died. It was awesome. And then I had a group of deer come through, and that was the only hunt I've ever filmed. I had a camera on my bow. Well, I had not a camera, but I had my phone on my bow
Yeah, it's
filming
like an
it.
attachment.
And I shot this mother perfect double lung. And then her babies came in, and I tried flinging one of them, but they were kind of smarting up at that point. I had my bow held back for about a minute and a half.
Oh, yeah, you're all shaky.
One would look at me, the other one would look at me, the other one would look at me,
Especially if
Kept
they're
taking
shooting one
turns.
deer. You get all shook up after shooting one deer.
Yeah.
Out the farm, I seen you shoot one. It went down, and then we seen it go into the woods, and we figured it was going down soon.
I heard
and
that
then-
one crash.
Yeah, and I shot that one at
And then you
48
shot-
yards.
Yeah, you shot the other one down.
That's a
on the
poke.
I had a group of cows underneath me because somebody said, "Hey, go into that pasture," because the pasture's closed off up at the top. I'm there about an hour, and all of a sudden, there's like 30 cows coming underneath me, and I'm like,
It's usually
"What is
closed.
going on?" So I'm taking pictures of these cows because they're right underneath me, and I'm there, and I see this deer out, and it's 48 yards away, and I took a whack at it. I ended up missing, and then it bounded and it looked at the cows. So the cows kind of covered me up. Re-ranged, found it at 48 again, and I held a little higher. I was shooting single pins, so it was a little harder, but I plopped one in there, perfect shot. It ran off 70 yards and died, and yeah.
Good cover scent, too. Bunch of cows under you.
Bunch of stinky cows.
Yeah, I'm going to bring some cows with me hunting from now on, you know.
Just tie one to your tree.
My cow, yeah.
That's the biggest doe I've ever seen.
I'll just tie a couple around my tree, those walk in circles, and just distract the deer.
Yeah. I like it.
I don't know
I'm
if
probably
they
gonna
get
get
along or anything.
a pet doe.
Pet doe.
When she goes into estrus, I'm just gonna let her sleep with my clothes.
You can tie her at the bottom of your tree, too.
Yeah, live decoy.
Perfect.
Game Commission definitely looks down on that.
I'll bring my beagle. She'll just bark at him, and they'll stare at her like, "What are you doing?" And I'll like, "All right, thwack."
Whack.
Oh, man. The double up, though, that's fun, man. I like hunting. Like you said, I like hunting close to people, and we've done that a lot where we don't really know where we're going. It's just like, hey, I'll climb up here. You go another 60 yards and go climb up over there, and we've done that with success over and over again.
Yeah, usually you don't mess each other up either, depending on if you're hunting the same trail, and then you really don't want to do that. But if you're covering a big area, you know, there's deer coming through there, you just can't pin them down to one trail. Yeah, it's good to have people close.
Yeah, plus the places we go,
That's
we've hunted there
teamwork.
forever. We know where the deer typically
Teamwork
come
makes
from.
the dream work.
That's right. It's
like
a team
it.
effort.
Team effort.
I want to see. Never mind. I'm not going to get into that.
Don't you dare.
I want to see this team succeed and
Let's
do well
not
this
get
year.
into
That's all I wanted to
cursing
say.
the DGs. I didn't want to come on here because of the DGs, man.
You'll be fine.
The deer
It'll be
gods
good.
are real, man. For what I'm not gonna get into it.
Don't even do it. Don't
I
do
know
it.
what?
Yeah.
So
No, I want everybody to do well though this year.
I do. That's what I mean. I just want to see like some of our new hunters do well. I want to see us, just have a good year. I want a good year. Last year was kind of frustrating, to be honest. I hunted a lot, and spent a lot of time up in the tree with some close encounters and not seeing much. And then, it all came together. And those last week, I put 2 deer down, so it was cool. But
See, last year was frustrating to me. Opposite. I didn't get to hunt nearly as much as I usually do, and that just put a damper on my season, man. Like every time I wanted to get out and I couldn't, I was just like, man, I had to quit my job. But it's all right. But
you can quit.
yeah,
Just no, get fired. Don't quit. Get fired.
yeah, that's
Collect
that's
unemployment.
the best. Maybe get a severance package.
We'll hunt every day.
Get paid to go bow hunting. That'd be awesome. Yeah, you
Go
can
ahead.
go. Go ahead. You're all right.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties on Joey's end.
Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, it's all good. No, you're fine. You don't gotta worry about noise. It's okay. It's a BS sesh, man. It's normal.
If you gotta pee, you gotta pee. You
If
gotta
you
go.
gotta pee, you gotta pee.
Gotta go. Nothing
Now,
ever cans.
One thing I do want to talk about. I would love to even see some deer this weekend.
Yeah.
Just being in the stand, I just want to be 20 feet up in a tree and freaking hanging out. And just, if it's cool, it'll feel like it's fall already, even though it's still kind of like summer. It'll feel like it's fall. And I don't know. I just
You
like the
open that
smell.
door,
And
I can feel a nice little cool breeze coming in.
it is. It's nicer out tonight. I like it.
It's real nice and cool. I don't know why the mosquitoes are all in here trying to get us again.
Well,
It's because we got these awesome lights.
Because we got real lights in here now. It's not like a bat cave with a little light in here. Thanks to you. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
It worked out good. Thanks, my boy Jimbo.
Let's go.
He's the man.
He is the man. Thank
Hooked
you,
us up
Jimbo.
with some lighting. Yeah, Jim's the man. But yeah, this year, I don't know, man. This year should be good. I'm excited, like I said, for this weekend. We got to figure something out for recording. What we're gonna do there.
I don't have a new camera arm yet. So
I
I'm kind
have-
of stuck on that situation.
I have a camera arm that straps to the tree. I usually just strap it above me. It's like for self-filming. I could do that, or I could somehow just strap it to my stand.
Well, bring
No,
it
I
over.
can't
Let me
do
see
that.
it. I'll run it.
It's a real short, like, arm on it. It's real short. So it just sits
That's
there and
hard.
my camera screws into it.
That's hard.
It works good, but if I'm trying to film you with it, you know what I mean, I ain't going to work.
Yeah.
But doing it that way. It's good for self-filming.
Yeah. I'm going to get one of them 4th Aero camera arms.
Yeah. I'll let you see it, though. Like I
Yeah.
said, if we can rig something up.
Throw my DSLR up on there. Get ready to rock. I'm definitely filming this year. I just haven't ordered it yet. I'm kind of...
I had full
been
sketched
bumming
out
about
filming. I stopped using that thing just because I didn't want to miss out on the kill just screwing around, you know.
Well, usually when I'm filming, I have a crappy camera arm that I don't use anymore. But usually when I was doing that, I got the GoPro on my head or above me or on different. Sometimes I mount it to my bow.
Yeah.
You know, I always got some sort of camera angle, but
It's just crazy because some people they're hunting these big bucks, and I know they have multiple opportunities at bucks because they're like on farms and stuff, but they'll go like, if the camera guy's not ready, they won't shoot. And it's like,
Oh, I know.
I don't care. Ruin this hunt, ruin this filming. Just say, hey, we weren't on it. I'm gonna shoot that deer every time. Like
oh,
these
me
people,
too, man.
We've
That's the
already
thing.
talked about that. When he mentioned filming hunts, I said, listen, I'll film hunts with you, but I'm telling you right now, promise me this. If it ever comes to a point where we have a deer that comes in that one of us is going to shoot, we're not the person asking, are you on it?
No.
When you get your first opportunity to kill that deer, you shoot it, whether the person's filming it or not.
Oh yeah.
And you said, yeah, absolutely, obviously. And I
Well,
said,
that's the
okay.
thing. I'm a hunter before I'm like
Yeah. And I've
putting
watched
something on YouTube.
Listen,
you know?
I've watched YouTube films where the guy's self-filming and the deer just walks off camera and he shoots it and it runs away.
It's
and
still exciting.
I'm just as excited or pumped for that guy because he's
Yeah.
doing it the way I would do it.
Absolutely.
The way I've done it in the past, like I got this camera for my birthday to one time and I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy the stuff for it and everything and I'm going to bring it out to Illinois, my first ever Illinois trip. What I used to do is I would put that camera arm up and I would hang it. The only problem that sucks is you got to carry that extra stuff and it's extra time setting it up. But what I did was I would just set my camera up. I would check it, make sure it's on my best lane, you know, the lane that I'm expecting to shoot a deer on. And then I would turn the camera off and I would just hunt. So if a deer was coming in and I had time, I would just reach up, turn the camera on, press record, and then hunt. You know, if a deer didn't walk through that lane, he walked beside it and I shot it, that's fine. I actually killed a deer on that footage, but he wasn't in the frame.
Yeah, I mean,
It was cool.
Yeah.
You know, it was actually kind of cool. It was weird afterwards. I was trying to be like a TV guy and do like this post interview, and I was like, yeah, this is stupid, and I deleted it. But I did. I had it on my best lane. I hit record. These deer came up into the, you know, right up the edge of the field, and the little one just happened to walk out in front of Mom. And it was 20 yards broadside. I said, I'm taking the shot. Thwack. You could hear the arrow go off and hit the deer and everything. It was still pretty cool.
That's the thing, though. Like, usually it's not like that. Usually, depending where you're hunting, it's like bang, bang, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The time that you're using doing that, you could be ranging different trails. You could be, you know, just figuring out how to take down this deer. And to
it's
take
just a
up
lot
that
of-
time.
it's a lot of extra
filming,
movement,
and
too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't want to carry the extra weight, to be honest with you. I'm already carrying a stand-in.
Mm-hmm.
I have my backpack. I got my stuff in my backpack. The camera's not that much, but a camera arm typically weighs a little bit, and even if I'm adding a few pounds, I specifically have the setup I have now because it's light.
Right.
Deer are a lot smarter, too, than these actual filmed deer, you know.
My goodness.
Oh,
those
yeah.
people-
Like the time that I filmed, I was 33 feet up. Russ was 27. And I was filming, and he actually had a shot on deer. We called in. We group called. You know, I was doing the rattling. He was doing the grunting. We called in 3 bucks. It just, nothing was legal. And he ended up shooting a doe, hitting a limb. I still got the film. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool hunt.
Yeah, I can dig it.
But you don't want to screw it. It's the weird thing is, like, especially up the mountains, every sound, every little noise, getting out of your seat, you could hear it because it's so quiet up there that I didn't want to screw up his hunt because it wasn't me screwing up for me. It was me screwing up. If I screw up, I'm ruining his hunt.
Right.
If I make a noise or make a movement or screw something up, it's not just on me. It's his kill. I'm screwing up. So
Right.
It does kind of suck in that sense.
That comes with stand prep and stuff too. I mean, making sure that when you stand up, your seat doesn't creak or your platform doesn't creak, or you know, if you have to, make sure you just get some of that nonsense oil. I forget who makes it. It has the viscosity is real different. It's kind of thicker, so even when it's real cold, it doesn't like coagulate real bad. It's nice.
I'm going to bring up $1 million idea off air after this is done.
Okay.
Remind me.
I've dropped like $3 million ideas on there. I don't think anybody's stole them yet, though.
No?
We have
No.
like 4 listeners.
Yeah, I don't think it's
True. I was actually thinking today, do they make any like scentless powder? Like baby powder?
Yeah, they make.
Do they?
They
Probably.
make shoe powder. Sam was telling us about for his boots. I don't know if you could use it the same way. I'm sure you probably
I would
could. It's just
imagine.
foot powder, but it was
Like dangle dust.
descending foot powder for like your boots when your boots are stinky. You put that in your boots.
I just throw some baking soda in there.
What's that?
Take it out.
Downwind, I think, makes it.
Dead downwind?
Dead Downwind. I think they make it.
No.
I was looking into it because when your boots get stinky, throw some powder in there. That'd be.
I was
legit.
talking more for chafing, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure.
mean?
free dangle dust.
Yeah. With that, I want to come up with something like baby powder, like the same, consistency and everything works the same. But
I wouldn't even
scentless.
really worry about it if it's scent free or not. I mean, it's under how many layers of clothing?
But
You
baby
have problem
powder is
chafing when you're
strong.
just sitting in a tree stand.
I'm talking on
That's kinda
days
what I'm
where you.
wondering.
I'm talking days when you're out doing all day hunt or you're scouting a lot. You're running all through the woods.
Scouting's different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. I don't
If
know.
there's definitely been days where I've sweated and I've been walking all over the woods looking for a place to hunt that I would have liked to not, been chafing. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I would love somebody to make. A lanyard for your rattling antlers that's actually feasible and easy to use. And it wraps up and keeps them all nice and quiet and
Anything
stuck
would be
together.
nice.
You know what I do with mine?
They're the worst.
I'll
I got
take.
mine hanging right there.
Yeah, I'll pretty much do that same thing. I'll just take a rope because I got the black rack. I'll take the rope
Same way.
and I'll put them around, but I'll hang them either. Because, when you have your climber, you have that little thing that hitches onto your chain.
Yeah.
That I use that as a hanger. And I'll just hang them on there.
I
It's
mean,
the
like for packing them
jangle.
in and out.
Yeah.
Because even when I hang them on my backpack, I might try and throw something around and keep them
Oh,
from dangling. But
what I-
eventually they start clanking together
I've
when you're
tried so many
walking.
things. They
What I
make
do
too
for
much
that is
noise.
I clip them right in. Your book bag usually has clips on it.
Yeah. I guess that probably worked good.
I
don't know.
usually just stuff them in my backpack with something holding them, like put them together and then stack them in my backpack and keep something tight against them so they don't move around. That keeps them pretty quiet going in and out. But
Just
and then
get
when
creative.
I hang them, I just hang one on either side of my backpack, and because they're on the rope, I'll hang the rope over them. One's on one side backpack, one's on the other side. Because trying to get them back into the backpack's too much movement.
Dude, most of the time, I end up holding them in my freaking hand, holding them together because I've got my bow in one hand and my rattling antlers in the other because no matter how I put them on my backpack or whatever, they end
I
up
got a good
jangling
limb.
around when I'm walking in.
Yeah,
Gotta
it's
get
terrible.
creative. I get creative just because I hang my arrows too. 'Cause I don't
yeah.
keep my arrows on my rest.
Your
on
quiver.
my
Yeah, I hang my
I don't
quiver
keep
up.
my quiver on my bow. I hang it up.
That's why I bring two easy hangers because I have one for my bow and then I hang my backpack on one and I hang my other stuff on the other easy hanger. I got a real short one.
Yeah. Well, hey, real quick. Well, we got a couple minutes left here. Joe, do you want to talk about your 2017 buck story while we got you here?
Yeah, sure.
Do it to it, kid.
Get it. And then give me some more of that beverage.
So my 2017 buck story. It started. I shot a buck, a 12 point, 3 years back, and it went quite a ways. We ended up finding it, but it was hitting up all of its scrapes.
After you
So-
shot it?
Yeah,
Oh, damn.
it didn't know it was hit. That's a thing. So it was hitting up all its scrapes, and I found an area where it was making a scrape, and it was checking its scrapes that it was an apple tree hanging over top of a cornfield down in West Virginia, on the panhandle.
I like it.
And so the whole next year, I went, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to set up, it's quite a walk, all uphill for the most part. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to set something up and, a ladder most likely because I don't want to keep walking up there with a climber on my back unless, I had a four-wheeler, but we usually don't. So I forgot about it the whole next year. Never really got up there. So last year, Johnny shot a buck. The next night, Russ shot a buck. And then the next day, I was by myself. I was hunting, and we were having problems. The one hunting spot we hunt at, people were hunting our stands, and they were screwing it up, and nobody was having luck anywhere. And I'm thinking, where can I hunt to where I could really, have a chance at a deer? And that popped up in my head, and I went, I'm going to buy a ladder stand right now. I'm going to set it up. I got time. I'm going to get a deer cart, which I had a crappy deer cart, super small wheels on it.
I need to get one. I don't have one.
Well, my dad and Russ, they were up camp, so they had their deer carts up there. So I had this crappy old deer cart. I'm thinking I'll put everything on there. I'll put my bag on there. I'll have a change of clothes. I'll have everything. I'll make that walk up that hill, which if you're a bird, it's about 1.3 miles, and I am not a bird. So it was quite a ways up there. So I started making the walk, and the trail wasn't well kept. There's trees down everywhere. Every little twig you hit with this stinking thing, it would flip over. So it took me about an hour and a half to get up there. And by the time I got up there, I'm looking around, I'm like, none of these trees are like good for a ladder, you know. They're either wide open or I can't shoot to the field. So I end up just setting it up kind of where I didn't want to. I'm thinking, I'm facing away from the field. They're going to sneak me. I only have like 2 real paths to this, you know, to the field. Small areas. So I need to pay attention. I need to look behind me a lot, you know, stand up for the most part. And it got down to last light. I went through so much. I mean, when I went in, I set up the ladder. I dropped down to my underwear. I wiped down. I put deodorant on. And I ended up putting all new clothes on. I took the old clothes, threw them in my bag, real deep. So I was sitting, and I'm waiting, and I'm thinking, if I don't see a deer, man, I'm on suicide watch, you know. If I don't see a deer or kill a deer, it's going to be terrible because I just went through hell and back. Last light, I hear something, and I'm thinking, I don't know if it's looking at me. I don't know if it's a deer. So I kind of like just glanced a little bit to my left, glanced a little bit to my right, and I got real slow, and I looked behind me. And through that apple tree, I see this deer. And it just looked like a little skimpy buck, you know. It looked like a little 6-point or something. And I almost just said screw it and got down. But I'm like, you know what? I'll look at it through the binocs, you know. It's about 50 yards away. And I look at it and I'm like, holy crap. That is a shooter, you know. So I set up. I got all my stuff together. I know I got a 12-yard path to the field right here. And he's on the field walking it out. Of course, he did not do that. He walked around, walked down, and he got about right underneath me almost. And I got him broadside. And I'm just looking at the spread on this deer, and I'm thinking, don't take this shot. It looks like there's something in the way, you know. I never shot deer from that close before. I haven't prepared. I don't know where to aim, you know. And there might be something in the way. So I'm thinking if he comes around, he's going to be my wide open. If he goes back to the field, I'll have him on a path. You know, just make something happen. I don't want to screw this up. So he turns back around, makes a scrape the same spot that 12-point made a scrape, you know, 2 years prior. Walked out. I'm thinking I'm in that whole area all sweaty earlier, cutting stuff down, cutting out trails. He's going to smell me. So he gets to that last step and he picks up his nose. And he might have been licking, you know, doing the licking branch thing. But I'm not sure. And all of a sudden he comes out. And I pull back and he's 12 yards away. And I put a shot on him. Arrow held up in him for a little bit. He ran about 20 yards. Arrow flew out. He circled around me, kind of like a big C. And I couldn't hear him walking anymore. I could hear him walking for a while. And I just couldn't hear him anymore. I'm thinking, okay, he's gone. I just can't hear him anymore. Either that or he's laying down. But most likely I just can't hear him anymore. So I'm texting everybody, you know, I just shot a hog. I don't know how good it is. So I end up waiting about 30 minutes. Hear a coyote go off, and I text them. I'm like, you know, I shot a coyote, but good thing they don't eat antlers, you know. So I get down and I find my arrow covered in blood, but there's like corn particles in it. I'm like, I've never seen this before, and I'm not sure where I really hit him. I could have went a little further back and nicked the gut, you know, went gut and liver. I'm thinking that was it. Seemed like he was almost fully broadside. So I kind of trailed a little bit. I text the guys and we're like, all right, well, I'll walk out and we'll come back in a couple hours. I don't want to risk this big buck. So we came back a couple hours later. It was me, 2 of my brothers, counting Charles, and my buddy Ferletta.
Who ditched us tonight? So we started tracking it, and it was terrible. Like the first 20 yards after we, you know, he went into the woods, he went through this humongous thing of jagger bushes. Like I don't know how he didn't get tangled up in that stuff and just go down and die, you know. And we made it through there, and I'm telling Ferletta, I'm like, mark everything with toilet paper. We're gonna do all the tracking. Just follow us and mark everything with toilet paper. So he gets down to this point, and we just lose it. And I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, I don't want to lose this buck, you know.
and it's not the best blood, but it's not terrible blood. And we're thinking, okay, he backtracked. So we start backtracking a little bit, and all of a sudden, we're going up this hill, and we see toilet paper. I'm like, are you kidding me for You're supposed to be marking everything with toilet paper. We just backtrack this buck, 30 yards. So I'm like, start over, mark everything with toilet paper, keep your heads on a swivel, we need to find this deer. And we turn back around, we backtrack again, and I'm like, okay, there's blood on this side of the tree, there's blood on that side of the tree. Charles, you go this way, John, you go this way, and figure it out, So they keep walking down it. Johnny backtracked the same trail that we just went down, and Charles was on the right trail. And our thing was, don't go yelling when you see the deer, because I don't want him jumping up and running away, Charles starts yelling, oh, there's a deer over here. I'm like, he missed the memo, And I'm like, shut up, I don't want him running, I don't know how good I hit him. And he's like, no, he's half eaten.
Yeah, it's like, there's a giant hole in his side. I don't think he's going anywhere.
He made it maybe 80 yards.
Yeah, he went down that hill, and it was goofy. It was probably because it was dark and we're, kind of getting turned around and stuff. But he went down the hill. He went right. But then as you're looking right, you're like, there's nowhere for him to go that doesn't make any sense. So he did like a loop-de-doo the other way. And as we kind of came back down the hill and we were trying to figure it out, I'm looking and I'm like, this is new blood. So I didn't say a word anyway. I kind of went off on my own and started taking this new trail because I thought that would be...
on the other side of the tree where the blood was. Because I'm like, you didn't run through this tree. There's blood on this side or blood on that side.
You guys were back kind of still trying to figure it out. I'm looking and I'm like, it made so much more sense if he would have went this other way. Sure enough, I just started getting it. And it was just like, I didn't even tell him, but I was on this just puddles of blood. I mean, he just started opening up the whole way, and I didn't say anything. I just kept falling. I'm like, I'm going to run into the deer sooner or later. And then sure enough, I just peep around this tree, and there it is. It just literally had its feet under it and everything. He just was walking, laid down, and died right there.
Yeah, he didn't make it very far. It ended up being a pretty perfect shot. I went in through the ribs. I had to have nicked, the gut or something that brought out that corn, but it came out right behind his other shoulder. Perfect shot for what it was. And
the autopsy was kind of tough with half of its guts eaten out by coyotes.
He was a pig, and we couldn't take our eyes or our hands off of it. It was one of them times like when you shoot a big buck like that. It's such a great special moment. It takes a couple days to really process in your head it actually happened, because you're the man that day. When you kill a big buck, you're pretty much the man that day. And the same with you when you killed your big buck that last year. I know you felt it.
Oh, dude, it was insane.
I know you felt that feeling where you're the man. For that day and like the next week.
How many people?
You're the man.
Yeah, how many people kept coming over in the middle of the night? Like, we're leaving for Illinois in the morning at like 7, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, everyone wants to come see it.
And I got like people coming over. The one kid is our buddy. He comes over in the cop car and he parks his cop car out front and he's shining his light on it. And we're, I was up till 3 in the morning, I think, just bullshitting with people because I couldn't. I'm freezing my ass off out there, but I was like,
That was a cold night, too,
it was
man.
freezing, and I didn't care. Like, I just couldn't stop looking at it.
You're the man, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
you're the man. You're the center of attention. And I've had enough luck.
Everybody's pumped up for you.
I didn't really want to talk about it, but I've killed 6 bucks in the past 5 years, and 4 of them are on my wall. And it's an amazing feeling,
Not all in Pennsylvania.
But that track, that track wasn't hard, but that drag out, we got to talk about that. That was pretty rough. So we had this crappy deer cart, and I start bringing it down the hill towards them as I'm dragging it by the antlers up the hill. This is after we sat and looked at this thing for 30 minutes just thinking, wow, 'cause you don't know how big a buck really is until you get your hands on it. And Johnny and, all of us were just like in awe that this buck is taken down. And when he went so far, and we're eyeballing this thing, and finally I'm like, all right, we need to get out of here. It's getting pretty late. It's probably like 3 in the morning at this point, because we waited 3 hours from, when we got it, and it's an hour walk back there, and it was pretty rough. So I'm pulling the deer cart down the hill, and all of a sudden I see something go past me. I'm like, what is that? And I look at it. It's the wheel. The wheel from the deer cart goes rolling past me. I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Fell off, rolled down the hill.
So,
we ended up getting something, and I ended up
yeah, we
bending
put
it,
like
and
a piece of metal in there, and we bent it over, and I put a zip tie in there. And
that was crazy.
the good thing was Ferletta was training for Spartan races all year, so he was on the deer cart the whole time. And Johnny, and you're holding its rack,
I'm
make sure it
literally
doesn't hit corn.
just holding the rack and like blocking the brush and stuff
That's
from
the
the
best
person
job to
pulling.
have.
No, it wasn't, because I was in the brush pile the whole time, like getting crushed, because they're like hustling this deer out, and I'm getting crushed by every weed and everything that they go through, because I'm trying to keep it away so that it doesn't get in the tires and stuff, because it was a real thick edge on the edge of the field. I'm just getting destroyed by everything, jagger bushes, everything. Like, I got crushed.
Yeah, it was rough, but it was worth it at the end, you know.
Oh man, I just wish we had a helicopter.
A four-wheeler,
Even
I
a
don't even know if it
four-wheeler.
would have been that great.
Four-wheeler would have been better than that. That was
Yes.
terrible. We
That's
trucked my
rough.
dad's deer out in a four-wheeler. That one he shot that was over 200 pounds.
This year's
Man.
there's beans, so I mean, I don't know. I'll be able to see more, but I don't know if it'll really.
Yeah,
Keep
but
'em
you
on
know
that
what?
edge
When it's
as much.
beans, once them beans turn yellow, man, it starts getting hard hunting them beans.
You know, I was starting to listen to that today about, when the beans turn yellow, like the myth is that deer don't eat yellow beans.
It's not a myth. It's just they go for other food sources before that.
Well, I think what happens is that's when they turn yellow is typically when all the acorn crop falls.
Mm-hmm.
So deer are more interested in the acorn crop than they are in the yellow beans. Plus, that's when people are starting to head in the woods and put pressure on deer, so they don't want to be out in the middle of a wide open field,
Yep.
chewing on beans when they can be out in the cover right by their bed chewing on acorns and eating acorns,
Yep.
and natural browse.
2 bucks ago, I shot one in the beans, and they were just starting to turn yellow.
Mm-hmm.
When I shot him, he was still, he came out with some does, but
The problem with the bean field where he's at, the cornfield made a natural funnel to his
Yeah.
stand because it's a wall.
yeah, those
basically.
beans don't do that.
They
The
walk through
beans
it, but
don't. I mean, they can walk right through those beans. They can bed out in those beans. It kind of sucks for your spot when it's beans and not corn, to be honest with you.
That's the same spot you were talking about that we reset up, and I took that ladder out of there because it wasn't right. If a deer comes down that field, I don't want him sneaking me. I don't want to have to keep doing all this movement left and right, trying to see if there's something behind me. Because, they get in that dirt, you can't really hear them walking through. It was just lucky that I end up hearing that buck even come through.
Yeah.
It's in a good spot. But that was even putting that stand up with a four-wheeler, a trip from hell. Like, it's just hell to get back to this spot.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's not fun going up there. We did some turkey hunting up there this year.
We did, and we also did a little bit of shed hunting on that property.
I also had, I think 6 ticks on me after that walk.
Oh, that 12-point I shot, we walked about 3 miles to find it. Johnny's pulling ticks off him like crazy. I didn't pull one off me because I wasn't really looking. I was focused on the blood. And him and my dad, they're just constantly pulling ticks off themselves. This year's been a decent year, actually. I only found 1 tick on myself, and I've been out in the woods quite a bit.
I think I've had 8 on me yet this year.
Hopefully it's not that bad.
I think I had 8.
I've had a couple, but the worst one was when I was at McCoy's spot helping. And all we were doing was going in at night to spot the field. And just from walking through this little thing of brush to get to the field, dude, I had the biggest, nastiest tick on me I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm worried it's that new breed of tick in the area.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
that thing was freaking goofy and nasty. I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
I hate ticks.
It
Well, that-
scared the shit out of
3
me.
years ago when I killed that 12-point, the hide was ruined because the dude was trying to comb out these ticks, and he ended up putting some bald spots in the hide just trying to get these ticks out because the ticks were so bad that year.
That's
It was
the worst.
crazy.
Let's burn them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, we're getting up there on time. Thanks for coming in, Joe. I appreciate you being a little fill-in for us. Nice BS sesh, talking about the
I always love
season.
to BS
and-
about archery, especially this early. I got nerves, anxiety. I got all this stuff going on, and people don't understand, and I don't have that many people to talk to at work about it. That's what I was telling you one night. I kept you up till whatever time the other night just
I don't
talking
care,
to
man.
you about it because
I love
I'm
it.
like, dude, thank you for just talking to me because I've been freaking out inside.
You didn't hear
'Cause-
me complaining, man. I
'cause
love talking about
usually-
deer hunting.
I have, my last job, I had a ton of people at archery on. This job, I have, maybe 2 people per shift, and it's kind of hard to, the people, I go up to people at work, I'm like, You hunt, right? And they're like, no. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ruin your life for about an hour just talking about hunting, you know.
Yeah. That's
I'm
fine.
just spitting knowledge down their head, and they're just like, get out of here.
I like it.
Before we wrap it up, do you have goals for 2018 you want to get into real quick, or do you want to just leave that one by the wayside?
I'll get into some goals. I mean,
Just real quick.
yeah, the goals for me right now, obviously, every time you come into a season, you want to get a couple does on your belt before really focusing on anything else. Just to get them nerves out, like you said before. Like, getting that first deer, I even noticed last year, I got that new sight, it's 5 pins, and I'm just like, you know, I was freaking out once I pulled back on a deer. I'm like, oh, what sight do I use? You know, what I do. But now I've been shooting so much, I'm a little bit more tied into my bow. And it's more like part of my body than anything, which is a thing you should definitely do. But
Talk yourself through that before also.
yeah, exactly. And so my goals are, you know, hopefully get some kills, and then really focus on the bucks and focus on that area I got the buck last year. Right now, up camp, the spot I have now, it's mostly a doe spot to my knowledge. I mean, you never know what you're gonna see, but I'm gonna keep pushing on at camp. And I mean, losing that spot, it was a terrible thing, but it helps me spread my wings. So now I'm gonna keep putting up cameras, different areas, and hunting evenings, different areas, and really trying to figure out the woods more than what I did before, because I kept seeing deer at that one spot. I kept on that one spot because I knew I wasn't spooking walking in there. Yeah, I'm really gonna spread my wings up there. And on top of that, I mean, hopefully keep the streak going, knock on wood. But hopefully keep nailing at it, you know, because you're always learning. So,
Well, I'm rooting for you, kid.
I'm rooting for everybody this year. I'd like
I
to
am
see
too.
my dad kill a nice buck, because we do it all the time, and you know, he's older now. He's 61, and I'd love to see him just kill a pig, you know.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
I'm with you on that, man.
We
that'd
got
be
to
cool.
get him out of his old ways of hunting the same stands all the time, you know. Get him
Yeah.
jumping around
He's got some
more.
good. He got good spots. It's just, you know.
I think he overhunts them early because he hunts
Yeah.
every day because he's retired, you know.
And he goes up
The
camp a
boys-
lot, which is hard up there, because once them
It's tough up camp.
them youth come through, and then the bear hunters come through, you know. Which he hunts archery during guns, so that does ruin him a little bit there. But yeah, it changes up there throughout the season. Like first 2 weeks, shit's just getting crazy.
Even if he get a nice out-of-state buck, I think that'd be cool
Oh,
too.
yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
he's been gone out of state for so many years.
Yeah.
He's got one really nice one, but man, some of the ones like he said he's had opportunities on, or
yeah, I'd love to see him shoot a cow.
yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
And everybody, you know, you want everybody to do good. Like there's some times where it's getting down to the last few minutes, and you're like, you know what? You know, you say a little prayer like, I hope somebody just gets a good deer, you know, or even get a deer, because I love tracking deer,
I do
you know.
too.
And I love to see everybody do good. Like when Charles did good last year, I was pumped. I was gonna leave work. I'm like, dude, I want to get on that track, you know. I want to get on that blood trail, because I knew in his head, he said the day before about that deer come through, and I'm like, why didn't you shoot it? Oh, I didn't have a lane. I'm like, I would have made something happen. You know, I would have made something happen, but
Yeah, it was
it's a
tough
good thing.
break.
You
Yeah, it was a good
tucked in
thing.
on him and you figured it out. But yeah, you like to see everybody do good. So this year, I just want to see everybody do good, especially the first timers. You know, like Bird. I'd love to see him get one, and I'd love to be on that blood trail,
Yeah.
because we're Beagles at heart.
Yep. Blood trail's what we do.
I dig it.
It's what we do.
It's what we do. I dig it. Well, people, we have coming up in the next couple weeks, we got some really good episodes for you. Like I said, this coming week, we're going to have John Eberhard on here for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the week after that, if all goes well, we'll have Wicked Tree Gear on to talk about saws and pruning material and everything for getting your tree stand set up. And that should be good. That's John Mulligan from
Yeah.
Wicked Tree Gear.
Wicked Tree Gear's good stuff, man. They got good products, but John Eberhardt's, I can't wait till that episode airs. That is going to
Yeah.
be phenomenal.
It's
I
a
heard
good
that
one.
one. He was one of them guys that you just hear him talk, and he's one of them guys you can't really deny the things he's saying, like, because he's one of them guys that's like talking to us. You know, you just agree the whole time he's talking. You're just nodding your head like, I agree. And it was a great episode.
Well, yeah, he's
I'm-
got
I'm
like
pumped for that
50
to
deer
come
in the
out.
record books or something like that. I can't wait for that
He's the
episode to come
man.
out. So that's good. That's coming up next
He's a cool
week, and
guy,
then
too.
Yep.
yeah, and then after that we'll have some more good ones for you guys. So
We're going to keep pumping them out, people. Please keep listening and, sharing comments. I actually dig it, too. My friends that listen to the podcast have texted me. They've already killed doe and 2B, and I was like one of the first people they probably text. And I was like, this is awesome.
Andrew tagged us on Instagram with his doe kill.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he did. No,
Is
super
that doe
cool.
and bucks?
Shout out to him.
Doe and bucks?
Yeah, doe and bucks. But
That'd be cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
Andrew's
super
one
cool.
of them.
Super cool.
Both my friends are both Andrews. Both Andrews messaged me with doe on the ground. and
Shout out to
2B, so
Andrew's.
the Andrews plurals. Way to get it done, boys. Way to put
Attaboy.
some blood on the ground. That's what I'm talking about. Let's
So,
go. I'm
If you
excited.
guys get any early season deer, or you get any deer in general, send them over, and we'll throw a bump on our Instagram, and just keep hammering.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't say that.
I did.
That was for
I'm
Burks.
sorry.
That's for Burks there. That's your boy Cam Haynes.
Your boy Cam
Cam
Haynes.
Haynes. Hashtag Cam Haynes. Hashtag keep hammering. Hashtag fitness. Okay. Let's wrap this up.
All right. Well, if you guys enjoyed the episode, head over to iTunes as usual and give us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. That helps us boost our podcast up and get more people listening. If you have any questions or comments, or you'd like to come on the podcast, send us an email at the whitetaildistractionpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to hit us up on our Facebook or Instagram at the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. Just say hey. We'd love to hear from you guys. So, hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thanks, guys.